Agenda 21, Chapter 27. Strengthening the role of non-governmental organizations, partners for sustainable development. Program area. Basis for action. 27.1. Non-governmental organizations play a vital role in the shaping and implementation of participatory democracy. Their credibility lies in the responsible and constructive role they play in society. Formal and informal organizations, as well as grassroots movements, should be recognized as partners in the implementation of Agenda 21. The nature of the independent role played by non-governmental organizations within a society calls for real participation. Therefore, independence is a major attribute of non-governmental organizations and is the precondition of real participation. 27.2. One of the major challenges facing the world community as it seeks to replace unsustainable development patterns with environmentally sound and sustainable development is the need to activate a sense of common purpose on behalf of all sectors of society. The chances of forging such a sense of purpose will depend on the willingness of all sectors to participate in genuine social partnership and dialogue, while recognizing the independent roles, responsibilities, and special capacities of each. 27.3. Non-governmental organizations, including those non-profit organizations representing groups addressed in the present section of Agenda 21, possess well-established and diverse experience, expertise and capacity in fields which will be of particular importance to the implementation and review of environmentally sound and socially responsible sustainable development, as envisaged throughout Agenda 21. The community of non-governmental organizations, therefore, offers a global network that should be tapped, enabled, and strengthened in support of efforts to achieve these common goals. 27.4. To ensure that the full potential contribution of non-governmental organizations is realized, the fullest possible communication and cooperation between international organizations, national and local governments and non-governmental organizations should be promoted in institutions mandated and programs designed to carry out Agenda 21. Non-governmental organizations will also need to foster cooperation and communication among themselves to reinforce their effectiveness as actors in the implementation of sustainable development objectives. 27.5. Society, governments, and international bodies should develop mechanisms to allow non-governmental organizations to play their partnership role responsibly and effectively in the process of environmentally sound and sustainable development. 27.6. With a view to strengthening the role of non-governmental organizations as social partners, the United Nations system and governments should initiate a process, in consultation with non-governmental organizations, to review formal procedures and mechanisms for the involvement of these organizations at all levels from policymaking and decision-making to implementation. 27.7. By 1995, a mutually productive dialogue should be established at the national level between all governments and non-governmental organizations and their self-organized networks to recognize and strengthen their respective roles in implementing environmentally sound and sustainable development. 27.8. Governments and international bodies should promote and allow the participation of non-governmental organizations in the conception, establishment, and evaluation of official mechanisms and formal procedures designed to review the implementation of Agenda 21 at all levels. Activities. 27.9. The United Nations system, including international finance and development agencies, and all intergovernmental organizations and forums should, in consultation with non-governmental organizations, take measures to a. Review and report on ways of enhancing existing procedures and mechanisms by which non-governmental organizations contribute to policy design, decision-making, implementation and evaluation at the individual agency level, in interagency discussions and in United Nations conferences. B. On the basis of subparagraph A above, enhance existing or, where they do not exist, Establish mechanisms and procedures within each agency to draw on the expertise and views of non-governmental organizations in policy and program design, implementation and evaluation. C. Review levels of financial and administrative support for non-governmental organizations and the extent and effectiveness of their involvement in project and program implementation, with a view to augmenting their role as social partners. D. Design open and effective means of achieving the participation of non-governmental organizations in the processes established to review and evaluate the implementation of Agenda 21 at all levels. 27.10. Governments should take measures to a. Establish or enhance an existing dialogue with non-governmental organizations and their self-organized networks representing various sectors, which could serve to 1. Consider the rights and responsibilities of these organizations, 2. Efficiently channel integrated non-governmental inputs to the governmental policy development process, and 3. Facilitate non-governmental coordination in implementing national policies at the program level. B. Encourage and enable partnership and dialogue between local non-governmental organizations and local authorities in activities aimed at sustainable development. C. Involve non-governmental organizations in national mechanisms or procedures established to carry out Agenda 21, making the best use of their particular capacities, especially in the fields of education, poverty alleviation, and environmental protection and rehabilitation. D. Take into account the findings of non-governmental monitoring and review mechanisms in the design and evaluation of policies concerning the implementation of Agenda 21 at all levels. E. Review government education systems to identify ways to include and expand the involvement of non-governmental organizations in the field of formal and informal education and of public awareness. F. Make available and accessible to non-governmental organizations the data and information necessary for their effective contribution to research and to the design, implementation and evaluation of programs. Means of implementation. A. Financing and cost evaluation. 27.11. Depending on the outcome of review processes and the evolution of views as to how best to build partnership and dialogue between official organizations and groups of non-governmental organizations, relatively limited but unpredictable, costs will be involved at the international and national levels in enhancing consultative procedures and mechanisms. Non-governmental organizations will also require additional funding in support of their establishment of, improvement of or contributions to Agenda 21 monitoring systems. These costs will be significant but cannot be reliably estimated on the basis of existing information. B. Capacity building. 27.12. The organizations of the United Nations system and other intergovernmental organizations and forums, bilateral programs, and the private sector, as appropriate, will need to provide increased financial and administrative support for non-governmental organizations and their self-organized networks, in particular those based in developing countries, that contribute to the monitoring and evaluation of Agenda 21 programs and provide training for non-governmental organizations, and assist them to develop their own training programs at the international and regional levels to enhance their partnership role in program design and implementation. 27.13. Governments will need to promulgate or strengthen, subject to country-specific conditions, any legislative measures necessary to enable the establishment by non-governmental organizations of consultative groups, and to ensure the right of non-governmental organizations to protect the public interest through legal action.